Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Live broadcast of the Zwift Racing League presented by WTRL. Season 3, race number 3. We're out on New York. The ladies are 5 kilometers into their race, 6 minutes of racing down. We're going to be covering the America's East women, as well as the America's East, maybe Central. Man, I got to double check on that one here, where we're in, but I believe we're in with East again this week. Let's just go ahead and jump right down into the racing images as the ladies are jumping out on course here, Dave. We had a lot of, obviously really exciting racing throughout the day, but as you were saying, at the end of the broadcast for EMEA, it's been very different racing across the entirety of each of the broadcasts, it seems like, as the racers take this course on differently.
Yeah, that has been really fascinating, to tell you the truth. I'd love to do a study on, what creates that dynamic on how the race starts, and clearly it's the motivation and mindset of the different teams out here. We've seen some incredibly aggressive racing, and vice versa. We've seen some racing, as you mentioned, waiting until the very, very end before things really hotted up. But with all of the intermediate sprints and points that we have, you're really guaranteed an exciting race out here. The first sprint coming up very quickly here as well. So we'll get a good feel for who brought their sprinting legs to the park perimeter loop. It's 39K of racing total, 4 monster laps out here. And the sprints it's imperative that you participate throughout the entire race, to tell you the truth. As the first sprint here, you'll see it scoring 10 deep, and that'll be all of our intermediate sprints, 10 deep, starting at 10 point for the first rider, down to 1 point for the final rider. So here we go. We are locked and loaded in with Megan Rathwell, the Canadian here on the Riot team. Now, I haven't had a chance to dig in quite yet on our roster. Is Christina Grossman taking the start today? I have to think so. This would be her backyard that she's racing in right now, and I have a feeling we're going to see Grossman featuring in this first sprint here.
It is her backyard, which is going to be really interesting to see if it brings any advantage tonight to that team Riot that is going to be out there smashing the pedals, probably looking to set her up real well. It's also one of those courses where I think they can really play the games Riot out here today, and tactics can play into your hand well that are really, put out on course well. I actually got an interesting message coming through. Evelyn Gagnon is actually hanging out in the chat, but she's also DSing right now for the team. Gagnon like a canyon. Awesome to see her hanging out in the chat. Long time Zwifter. And Anna, I believe, is out racing instead today rather than in the DS seat. I'm going to double check that, or maybe I can get some help on
correct.
that. Yeah. And Grossman is out on course for sure.
Yeah, Anna Russell, Claire Cameron, Evelyn Gagnon directing, Christina Grossman, Megan Rathwell, and Natalie Smith is a name that is a little bit newer to me on this Riot team. She is also a New Zealander, so must be an Anna Russell connection that we're talking about there. All right, Nathan, the sprint has started, so we have launched. Let's see how this one is going to score.
Yeah, and Stephanie Clark, this has been this new startup. Stephanie has been catching them off guards over and over again, and she may be doing it again. Here she goes, ATP completely upsetting the card here. Grossman comes through for second, but what a move by Stephanie Clark. She, week in and week out here, is showing that she has got what it takes to be up against the best.
You've got a counterattack. I think we've got a counterattack. I think this is classic Riot right now. Well, or just pressing the pace here. Okay, this is going to be a very dynamic group to race with here, Nathan. It's going to be really fun. I thought that Riot was going to create a jailbreak there right after that sprint. Look how many riders are getting tailed out. So they are really pushing the pace here right now. Very aggressive.
So it looked like it for a moment there. I thought I saw 3 or 4 Riot jerseys go straight to the front. But calming down just a little bit here, it looks like. Now, I am going to really quickly highlight. No, it wouldn't at all. It would be complete. That's exactly.
It actually would be like them.
Yeah. Right. It'd be completely like them to do something along those lines. On the men's side of things, they have gotten out on course. Things are pretty calm over there. I'm not expecting a whole lot of action until they hit Harlem Hill, so we're going to stick in with the women, and we'll take a look at how the points are playing out with the ladies in just a moment.
Wanted to talk very quickly about the power-ups, Nathan. Is not any confusion, but there was a late change here as the anvil was replaced by the ghost. So you won't see any anvils out here today. If you're expecting to, it's going to be the ghost. And we haven't really seen that used to any great effect. We have seen some riders sneak off the front. Hasn't been quite the game changer as it was earlier in this season. The other two, the well-known helmet, the arrow, 25% taken off of your CDA, just making you more aerodynamic or slipperier, but for 15 seconds. And then the feather, which decreases your body weight by 10%, that's also for 15 seconds. Those are two very valuable power-ups. But everyone back together. I'll throw it back to you, Nathan.
Yeah, looking through here, WLC have shown up as well, and that is, that has been a part of the conversation over and over again. Is this Wahoo Lacole team? What
They're
I didn't
everywhere.
realize was that Britt Mason is riding for Wahoo Lacole in this zone. That's some sprinting power as well. Mason was one of the winners of a live event actually very early on in the Zwift esports world. I never count Britt Mason out when it comes to a sprinting situation here. So watch out. Wahoo Lacole, that's a big pickup for them. I'm not sure that she's been riding for them until this season. I'll have to double check that. But pretty cool to see that pickup for that WLC team.
Well, you've always got to be recruiting out here, don't you, Nathan? I mean, we're starting to really see that with the Premier League teams watching for talent. And one of the biggest breakthroughs came out of that Wahoo Lacole program, actually. It's a little complicated to explain exactly how that works with the promotion and then the merger of the teams. But what a star Zoe Langham is. We noticed that. She racing with Maud LaRue, actually, on that Wahoo Lacole team, and they were going toe-to-toe with Roca Corba, and you knew if they could do that, that they're going to be competitive at the very highest level. That's the finish line that they're going through now. So 3 more laps, 3 to go right now for a group that's going to be very aggressive. So look at Christina Grossman. What a star she is. As she right now has that fastest through segment. She also has the 9 points, getting that second place there at the first sprint. It was Stephanie Clark picking up the 10 points as they came through. Claire Cameron getting up there for Riot, another one of the Canadians on that team. So Riot off to a good start here, Nathan.
Huge effort here right now coming from Riot. 29 points for Grossman. She almost scores maximum points, 1 short with Stephanie Clark grabbing that. So as we said early on, this is a course that she is going to be hunting, I think, being her literal backyard and probably a backyard a little bit in Zwift as well.
I had a chance to meet Christina Grossman, Nathan. I'm sure you watched that on World of Zwift. And her ride from where she lives in Queens over to Central Park, I think she does it in less than 15 minutes. And I mean, maybe even 10 minutes. She zips right over. And she was telling me that this park perimeter loop, we actually did an interview right on the loop, and she was telling me all about how on Zwift her time is within seconds of what her in real life time is on that loop. And
That's
I think
amazing.
it really is amazing. The engineers, the game engineers that we have, do an incredible job. And New York is a really interesting mix of realism, and Central Park could not be any more real. And then that futuristic 100-year in the future New York that you see surrounding it. I love this world.
Looking at Brad R here from ATP Oxygen out on this world. 3% negative grading as they climb over the top of the first time on that Harlem Hill climb. Lucas Verslau is here. This is the man, nicknamed Doc here. Well, over on Twitch, at least I nicknamed him that. And he's coming out of Canada right now. Be on the watch out for him out here on OTR. He's also a team experimental racer when he's not racing the ZRL with OTR. So good to see Lucas out there. Velocio, always be watching out for. We do see Restart next do have one of their community teams out here. This is a stacked field. I mean, think about this here, Dave. How many top teams and names that not only have Premier Division, but some of them chomping at the bit, most likely to show their Premier Division, co-teammates that they got something here as well.
Yeah, well, this is definitely the AAA of esports, right? I mean, when you look at it, that's 3 teams just off the top of my head that I see that have franchise up in Premier. And, Yeah, so some other new fun teams, Pizza Boys Racing. That's the team I was mentioning, Nathan. Some of the riders I should look into. I don't think they're all from Columbus, Ohio, but they have that connection to Paradise Garage, which is a very cool bike shop in Columbus. And Jonathan Frenner, also not on that team, but from that part of the world. We're looking at Luinstra right now attacking. Nathan, you got to love this. Let's monitor a 5-second gap with the sprint coming up right around 7.5K. This is fun. So they're going to play some cards early here, Royal City. Unlike Premier yesterday, the points don't double. They're the same lap after lap until you get to the monster point final with 50 points for the winner. But this situation now, this next sprint, 10 deep with 10 points for the first rider over the line. He's got a really good shot here. He's lighting it up.
This has been the move over and over again, actually, that has made it happen. It's been so successful and repeatable that it seems like unless the pack is really aware, they have let this go quite a few times. Now, the question is whether or not he has the aero power up we've seen used many times on this next downhill. A lot of times we do need 6 to 7 watts per kilogram through here. It does look like OTR not interested in letting this go, though. 6 seconds. Now we need to see right here. It needs to be over 60 kilometers per hour on this downhill at some point. We'll see if he gets there. And if he does, this may go out a little further. Now at 58, I'm not sure it's going to happen.
Let's see here. He's got a ways to go. Right. I liked what you were saying about replicatable. If you'd been watching the earlier races, we've seen this work at least 5 times today, I would say, Nathan, throughout many hours of racing, that's for sure. They say the definition of insanity is repeating the same action and expecting a different result. This is the exact opposite of that. This is super smart racing. When you see something work, and a lot of these racers in this group would have been working today and unable to watch the racing, and it's a real advantage at times to be able to. I mean, if you watched Leandro Messanillo in Premier, you realize that this is realistic. Let's watch that gap down to 4 seconds. I'm afraid you're right, Nathan. It's going to be really, really tough for a strong rider, too, as Luinstra is one of the names that we've got here on this Royal City team that has been consistently a front runner week in, week out.
Tied at 39 points, Velocio Trail Mesh alongside a next level there. And then it's going to be 33 with ATP and Restart. Real 5 there as well at 32, tied with Team F3. That's the old Wadi Inc., if you didn't know. Changed up to over to Fast, Fierce, and Family. OTR there, 27 points there. Canada Echelon presented by 4i. Pizza Boys Racing there, 25 points at 9th place. And Royal City with Luinstra off the front is going to be there as well. Missing this... apologies on that, guys, as we were reading that out. It looks like Chin is able to take that down. Perhaps, or was it Ferentz? That was a close one. We'll have to double check. Apologies on missing that sprint as I was super focused on making sure all the teams got their recognition along the points. I think Andrew Ferentz or Chin were able to take that down.
Did you ever play hockey, Nathan? In your time there in Wisconsin?
Sport. That was my main sport for quite a while, actually. It's a great crossover to mountain biking because of the over and over red line, blue line, red line, blue line, red line, blue line. I mean, it's nothing but high VO2 intervals and really punchy legs. So I love the hockey is my varsity junior senior year. Loved it.
So Andrew Ferentz is a Stanley Cup winner with the Boston Bruins. He I believe played in the NHL for 15 seasons. I should actually make sure that's correct, but he had a long career. And as I said, had the Stanley Cup. I think they still do take the Stanley Cup, and each person on the team gets to spend some time with the cup. So it's probably been over to his place. He lives in Vancouver in British Columbia. A big part of the camaraderie on Velocio is just all these super talented guys from different worlds that come together on that team. Same team as Ted King. We featured their teammate Kevin Bouchard-Hall on the broadcast for the Premier League this week. I'm a huge fan of Velocio and each one of these guys. It's extremely cool. And isn't it? It's just awesome to see that Next and Velocio are still battling with strong teams, even though they both put teams up into Premier as well. This is exactly how I think the folks that when they were designing the league and they thought about promotions, I think this is what you were hoping to see. It's all about community. It's all about that relationship, getting together, riding, backing each other up, and racing together. It's not about a sponsor coming in and hiring the best riders and bringing in a bunch of mercenaries. It's a bunch of guys that want to have fun together. And that seems to be the secret sauce.
Interesting on the points here. I agree with that totally, Dave. It's how you make a sport from the ground up and finding the best talent.
Isn't that true, Nathan? And I just did a podcast with Kevin Bouchard Hall. It's available now. Actually, it's called Nowhere Fast. And we talked a lot about you and the community that you've built. As a matter of fact, I'd say 15 minutes of the podcast, we're talking about you. Everyone is so impressed. And as you know, obviously I am.
Oh, man.
You'll be embarrassed. You should let your kids hear it if you want to get some points around the house, because there's nothing for a parent that's better than having your kids be impressed by what other people think about your dad.
Appreciate
they will
that
be very
much, guys. I really do.
Well, yeah, and I don't mean to take away from the racing right now, Nathan, but everything all together, that's the finish line. So it's a nice moment here to just talk about, hey, Josh Lipka is racing. Here, he's got some points. Speaking of community.
Up on there with a solid 6 points, and he was, looks like, fifth across the line. So fastest through segment with 1. So at the top 10 there as well. Solid, very solid effort.
Pizza Boys are my new favorite team. I hope no one takes offense to that, but it's that time of day here. And I was talking, Nathan, it's a new team to us, the Pizza Boys. Robert Croker, Chris Rednauer, Cody Hardley, Larry Hughes, Reese Edwards, and Spencer Dell. This is the team I was talking about, the guys that I met at the World Championships in Richmond. He was on the course the day that we watched Peter Sagan. He was there the whole weekend, I'm sure. But Larry Hughes is really great to have riding up here at this level. Extremely competitive field that we've got here. And Nathan, they're not that far from another sprint. The men and the women out here for 39 kilometers of racing, 4 laps on the park perimeter, 505 meters of climbing. It's a tough day, and it looks like the women here, Claire Cameron, attacking with old school fury. So Riot doing what Riot does, Nathan.
She got the jump on him, too, a full second. She's gone. This is not getting caught. Catherine Monk's trying to respond to it. It's not going to happen. Jennifer Reel maybe coming over the top. Christina Grossman, though, gets the second jump from the pack. Kicks over the line, and that's going to be it. Riot go 1-2. ATP, it looks like, take down that third spot. Russell was in there as well. Looks like Anna's been taking those lessons to heart here and to the legs, and is also able to grab a few points. Is Anna wearing socks?
They might have had 5.
Anna is wearing
had 5
socks.
riders. Oh, gross.
What is she doing? I thought she was a triathlete. She has black
losing
socks
her mind?
on.
Is she
and
out
she's
of
got
mind?
the Adidas. She's doing this on purpose. She wanted me to see the socks. She wanted me to see the socks and then see the Adidas shoes that she's wearing. You
Adidas.
know it. You know it.
The rest of the world, this is a long-standing running joke between you and Anna, but the rest of the world says Adidas, and here we say Adidas, and I back you up. It's Adidas in the States, and then we learned from Martin about Adi Dassler. We've learned the whole story, I think. You can go back and look at the archives if you want to hear many, many hours of discussion of Adidas and worldwide. Do you think this group's going to get back on, Nathan? I do, actually.
I think so. They looks like Blake alongside with Quick is here. There's some pretty strong riders actually that have been dropped off. I wonder if they were just caught off guard actually, because Quick, Van Houweling as well. That's not a rider you would expect to be off the back. 183.
Oh, that's the kind of rider. It's funny when you get dropped, you look around, and that's got to be a technical issue.
Is that 180
this is
beats
off
per minute?
back
I don't know.
or front?
She might have been off the back for a while though, and then trying to catch back up. I don't know, but that's really a big hit to OTR actually. So
yeah, and I mean I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse, but Molly is an athlete that has 100% credibility, and her bona fides. I mean, she's been the world hour record holder. Nothing added. Not master, not junior, not collegiate. The world hour record holder, and so something's up there. Something's up with the Christina Grossman and Fuego here on her home course, her signature. This might be the perfect day actually, Nathan. Let's talk quickly about that after we look at these points, because Christina Grossman, a renowned sprinter, but she's got endurance. She can go big for a long time. That's exactly what today's course is. Can Grossman win the outright race today? We'll see. Claire Cameron, the Canadian 21, tied with Weiss. Candeloro with 16 points. Fourth, Anna Russell, who had her third child 4 months ago. 13 points. Anna, you're amazing. It's going to be Clark with 10. She won that first sprint to pick those points up. And then you can see 3 riders with 8. Rathwell, Timewell, and Florazone, and Jen Reel. I wonder if Jen is back in Hawaii. I saw that she was doing a gravel race in Texas this last weekend.
Didn't it say that she already raced twice this year as well?
Yeah,
I think in
you
that
saw
post,
the same post, I
I
think.
was
Yeah.
like, wow, 2 races already done and dusted, man. Holy cow.
But I was thinking, he's like, wow, you are ambitious to be traveling from Hawaii to Texas in January to race. You are really, really hungry to race.
Yeah,
'Cause you wouldn't get me
mean,
leaving
she's
Hawaii
not. I mean, that
in
podium
January.
didn't look like a joke either. So I mean, she's up
No.
coming in
Big
real
names.
life. Yeah. So and racing that early against big names tells me maybe there's more on the radar there, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, good for Jen Reel. As a matter of fact, that's why she's racing. She has some great form, and she wants to get on a podium with World Tour riders. Because if I remember correctly, it was 2 of the EF Tibco riders
Yep.
that were.
Yeah, they were wearing
with
the
her.
old kit still.
Right.
They were still in the blue kit.
Well, I think, did they
podium.
unveil their new kit like today?
Yeah, it was yesterday or
right.
today. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So.
Just came out. A lot happening right now,
Yeah,
good
for
and
me,
bad.
it's like, I mean, that's like a couple hours ago. It's old news. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, you were up
Totally
at 2
kidding.
a.m. with Anna Russell, who we were talking about, does the broadcast with Nathan at 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning.
She runs the whole
to
thing
start-
now, actually. I just make sure
Oh, she
it
does.
gets off the ground. She is completely on it at this point, which is pretty awesome.
Making me look bad, Anna. Come on.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
She
She is a classic overachiever. We're back in with the guys now. Big group together, Nathan.
And
You
let's
know
look at their
that-
point situation.
When you have a
Hernandez,
colleague.
Ferentz there did
Oh.
take that 10 points, as you see.
That was the
But-
NHL hockey player I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan
Andrew.
Favolosio. And then, but it's Haney and Hernandez at the top there with the fastest through segments, along with some first across line points. Now, if those are not familiar though with how that's working, like why are those worth so much? They're only available once out on course, so that 20 points can change up and go to somebody else who goes for those 20 points and gets that fastest through segment next.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but you can get first and fourth place as well by yourself, right? So it's a very interesting point format because we collect the times as we make our way through
This
the
is
race.
a guy who likes to
Wouters won.
suffer, and he's
He's a
off
guy I
the
love
front
watching
here.
race.
I mean,
Yeah.
he'll just give it, and I love how he commits to these. Like some people will kind of put their toes in the water. He
doesn't
understands-
half-ass it.
No, he
Yeah.
understands that. Like he'll even go to the point where most people are like, "This is over," and I watch him continue on because I think he's been in enough situations where they actually let up, and he knows it's a race of meters, and he's made it work. And watch him; he's doing it now with this continue. It's over 60 kilometers per hour at this point. We'll see if he
He
can
knows
hold
what
on.
he's doing.
But this is solid
Yeah, I mean,
right now.
this is a guy, Nathan, I think that you would really respect because he's not only got he's a lot like you, right? He's got the ability and he likes the gameplay element and he really understands Zwiftcraft. So can he do it is the question. Really hard to hold off a group like this.
Yeah,
talked about pack dynamics.
He's going to need a lot of wiggle room here.
is not good.
You know,
Yeah.
as far as making it happen here, he's going to have to pounce again in just a moment. And that Velocio team was not interested in giving him any space. I think they really thought this was a threat, and they
They're
went
not.
ahead, put a man on the front, and back it comes.
Dream killers, Velocio, as they looking to do the shutdown before the next batch of points are distributed. Although it's not over yet. And as you said, Wouter Zwart really knows how to eke out every last bit. Racing out of Arizona
It's going to need
starts
another
getting
jump
interesting.
right now, though, if it's going to go. Here comes 8 watts per kilogram from
There
Andrews.
they
Now
go.
15 from Ferentz. Huge numbers. He's completely committed to this effort with that feather power up. He gets the gap now, 51 kilometers per hour, but he's going to need a lot of distance here. 56, 57, almost 60 kilometers per hour. Here comes the pack. They're chasing him down, but I think he's got the distance now. And he makes it happen.
Oh,
chin
Canuck
across the
up.
line. That was huge effort there. Talking about red line, blue line, that was goal line all the way through.
I was just thinking the same thing. So that we were talking about Andrew earlier. He's come up quite a bit in the last year for just.
Well, I think he went
Zwifter
from like kind of like I'm competitive cyclist, and now he's like I'm cyclist. I'm racing.
Yeah.
I'm a racer now. And you take that kind of hockey player fitness. You take a few pounds off because you got to be a little bigger to play hockey. It's just reality. Like you got to have some serious muscle on the body. Like, so he probably had to, he probably had to lean out a little bit. And not that hockey players aren't lean, but our cyclists have a different kind of lean going on. That's for sure. And but then you keep 100%. That kick though alongside of that, and this guy is going to be a force to be reckoned with, as we're seeing right now.
It's funny. I wouldn't want to play hockey with a cyclist's upper body. You know what I'm saying? You might get pushed around a little bit.
I skated around everybody in the men's pickup like a maniac, and they were like, "What the heck? This guy never stops." But then when the boys
they start hitting you up against the board,
and then it was over. Then it was ouch. I still got a scar on my lower lip actually from men's pickup.
No, you want to zip around and skate around? They're like, great, wear yourself out a little bit, and we're going to kick your butt. So I think it's great. So it's funny. I don't need to name names here. It's certainly nothing embarrassing or anything. It's actually extremely cool. But I know a couple of the women that are racing here happen to have boyfriends, or in one case a husband, that are huge hockey fans. Can you imagine how much credibility the women are getting right now when their boyfriend realizes that Andrew Ferentz, the Boston Bruin, is racing tonight as well? I think it gives a little bit of a little bit of extra coolness to what we're doing here.
Yeah. Top level kind of a thing. Yeah, of course.
And you're like, oh, that guy summited Everest.
Andrew Ferris is racing with them. He's getting the kudos because he's racing with the ladies.
Because he's racing with Christina
Grossman,
who's the queen of
New York. Right, exactly, the queen of New York. So I'm going to put that the other way around.
You're smarter than I am. That's why. No, but our community is flat out awesome. It really is. Talked about that in that podcast as well. It's just such a cool group of people.
Let's take a
it looks like the ghost you used. We got an attack, Nathan.
Yeah, things are definitely
I think that's Jonathan Jacob.
On the men's race for sure.
I think it's Jonathan.
We want to also make sure we highlight the points and how they worked out through that last section. Just a moment, we'll go to that last sprint section.
Ferentz, 2 sprints, 2 wins.
A little bit of a kick here. Eric LaSalle is here as well, coming from Canada 4i. They've been a little bit more quiet. Canada 4i. We'll see if they can have a better race out here today. But Noah Balks makes his way to the front. You never want to let this guy get too much rope as he's donning his ZRL Champions helmet.
I like Noah a lot. I like the spirit that he races with. Really great character.
I love him, except on Thursday nights when he rips my legs off in the TTT. No, I love him.
Not even a particularly nice guy.
love him even more for it.
I have never met Josh Lipka in person, but I'm well aware of his larger-than-life status. He's a great director. He actually came up in our meeting this morning because next week is Team Time Trial Week, and the directors are going to have their hands filled. Josh is the sports director or I should say director sportif for the Virginia Blue Ridge 2024 team. So he's been working with that team, Kristen Kolchinsky and company, for a while. He's also a coach.
Yeah, one of the better coaches out there in the community, actually.
Seems
amongst
like
the Zwift
very popular.
Racing, de-essing a lot. So
he's Christina
Grossman's
coach.
Yep. I mean, Christina Grossman.
Yeah.
KK obviously as well. I mean, obviously he's got a little bit of.
I wonder how much he charges.
His belt.
I want to be part of that.
Oh
I
boy.
want to be in
Oh
that
boy. Now
stable.
we're going some. All right, we're going to keep on
Now
moving.
I've got a coach. Yeah.
We're gonna Dave needs to start racing. Josh, make sure you contact him, get in his inbox. We've been talking about him doing all this, so maybe it's actually gonna happen. One of the Dave is like locking himself in a corner right now. I think put like really rocking a hard place because now he's gonna
I
have to do
better
this
get a
stuff.
coach. I better get a coach, right? So, Nathan, if you had to guess, Central Park, this loop is 9.7K. We've got the guys. This is the women we're in with now, I should say. Guys are out on starting their third of 4 laps. The women here are well into lap 3. So they'll be getting the bell with 1 lap to go. Everyone all together. Now's a good time to ask you my trivia, or not quite trivia, but my question of the day. Central Park, more or less than 1,000 acres to make up this course. I mean, the perimeter loop is exactly that. You're going all the way around the outside of the park. Is that going to be 1,000 acres to make up this man-made wonder?
No, less.
You're
Well, I wanna
correct.
say-
You're 2 for 2. It's
How much?
well, you already answered.
930 or something?
843.
843.
8.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's
843.
it's the woman we were just talking about, Jen Reel. The ride is taking turns.
I
The
think
ride
this is on
all
purpose,
over.
actually. And
Yeah,
the other thing, I think Grossman is doing what she needs to early and then wants to win this race. I think that's what's going on. Ooh, WLC, Britt Mason,
Britt
I
Mason.
think just nipped it at the line right there.
You're talking about her. Ride her to
Strong
watch.
mountain
Thanks,
biker.
Nathan.
Strong,
Yep.
strong mountain biker, actually. Who
Counterattack.
brings a sprint.
Possible.
Brings a sprint. Maybe. We'll see. No, W Sisters,
No.
they're just kind of shutting things down, I think. But I think what was
Locked
happening
eyes,
early
sit
on
there.
here is Grossman was doing what she needed to grab those fastest through segment as well as, some podium points, but not go for the win,
Open the
save her
legs up a
legs,
little
and
bit.
grab that W at the end of the day, I think.
If I was the director for Christina, you got to know the rider, and it's like a thoroughbred horse. There's some fine, minute details that are really important. But for a lot of riders, it's perfect to go out there because she's not going to get dropped. She's strong enough. So you definitely want to do some openers, right? Some good hard sprints, and then you're warmed up. You're ready to go. Don't sprint for the penultimate. Maybe even take 2 off, which I think Grossman has done, and then be there for the final. Does that make sense?
100%.
So a little work. Get the
Speaking
engine
of,
running.
The
Hello,
Josh Lipka, and whether or
KK.
not he is familiar with this course, he won the CRCA Central Park Series on the
What?
Elite Men this summer. So a little bit of familiarity, obviously, there for Mr. Lipka. It's so cool how much representation we have from the East Coast. I mean, this is America's East. We're on an America's East well-known course, obviously, amongst this high elite level. And they're racing out on it in something that they know probably by heart.
I love the fact that if you go back to the 1970s and 80s, Charlie Eisendorf, who's the man who really is the guy in charge of all things racing at Zwift, and just a wonderful human being. Charlie's dad ran racing in Central Park, the race that we're just talking about with KK there. These races, they're out there in the park certainly before 3 in the morning to get things set up. The races happen before the sun comes up. It's really a phenomenon. There have been some really interesting videos made about this. You could find them on YouTube about just who that group of human beings are that are racing their bikes in Central Park Saturday mornings before the sun comes up. Just really, really cool. Speaks to culture and passion. And I love the fact that Charlie took over the job from his dad for a while. And then, as I mentioned, is helping run things here. A lot of connections because plenty of the folks at Zwift have New York roots. Eric Min, for example, would have been racing on this course many times in his life as a young man. And here we are now.
Luinstra,
it's
this is
incredible.
his spot. He just likes this. This is it. The launch pad we've been talking about. This climb after the punch in the gut
Signature
that
move.
is Harlem Hill. He wants to make the poison dart frog move that Messinil showed us yesterday. We're going to rename it to Luinstra maybe as he continues to press the pace here.
Yeah, I love it. Right back at it, trying to pick up the monster 10-point bonus that we've got here. Let's see if he can pull it off this time. Again,
They have
Watch that
tacks
gap. You
in
can see it's
both
at 6
races too.
seconds.
I just
5.
want to highlight real quickly both races attacks going off the front right now. Karina Esquada from WLC. I think it's going to get brought back. Lewinstra off the front by 6 seconds. The women's race 1 is going to be brought back here. I think Lewinstra though is going to continue on a little ways.
Sorry,
7
there was
seconds,
just
Dave.
yeah, and I mean I'm pulling for him. That's for sure. I don't know exactly how far we are from the sprint here. It's really tough to gauge that.
Yeah, 2K. I think 2K.
It's yeah, that's quite a ways. I mean, this is going to be a major effort here. It's certainly
They've
we
given
talk
him a
about
lot more
fortune
wiggle room
favoring.
though than they gave.
Yeah,
they
this
gave.
certainly looks more likely, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, actually, it's a lot more. As a matter of
Yeah,
fact, I'm going to
Wouter
be.
had 6 seconds at this point, right? So this is double.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if they get him back before the points are distributed here. This should be good for 10. He kind of redoubled his efforts, went even harder to establish this gap. Well, I'm impressed. I really am. It takes some courage to get back out there and try again against a race with this much depth in the field.
Yeah, big effort here coming on from Lewinstra. Solid, nice job by him. And, this has been, I think, over and over again, Lewinstra is always a big instigator. On some days I would give him most, throughout all the seasons I've seen him riding for this Rail City, as well as over some of our summer classic races and stuff, definitely would award him a few most aggressive riders, and it's paying off here finally for him for these points.
Yeah, it's certainly one of these things in racing. You see it at every level. There's the active racers that are getting up there, getting in the mix. I'm sure so many coaches at the velodrome, you can just see that there's racers who have that. It's a je ne sais quoi kind of thing, but just are born racers. And certainly there's a difference between a born winner or not. I don't know if there's such a thing as a born winner, but people who have killer instinct is a better way to put it. Not everybody winning means everything too, but those that do, that are willing to do the work and then are active racers, they stand out pretty quickly. And I'd put Lewinstra in that group. There's no doubt at this point that he's away for the points. They'll be sprinting for 9 behind him. So it's not, in a lot of ways, I mean, when you look at it, there's so many points left here that you don't want to sacrifice a big part of your team to bring him back just to get one more point. So that even really plays into his favor now. It's not worth it for them to kill themselves to get him.
Got some fans.
Very well done.
In the broadcast here coming on through from Chemical over at Twitch. Good to see you there. Twitch, if you like any of the athletes' efforts out here, want to vote for most aggressive rider, any of that kind of stuff, just let us know in chat. We definitely love to hear people and who they are rooting for. Dowd now for second across the line. I think it was RK from Next, presented by Insured for that third. Noah was in there maybe for fourth, right up against Andrew Ferentz from Velocio. We'll take a look at the points in just a moment, but massive effort from Mr. Lewinstra, who's going to get eaten up by this pack now as Ferentz is at the front after that punch to that sprint line. The ghost being thrown down there by the ATP Hydrogen rider Schaefer, just dumping that because you do not want that across the lap banner. It's not going to help a whole lot if you want to get rid of it. As the ladies are they're already out on their last lap. This race is going by so fast, Dave.
Yeah, it's there's so much action is the thing. It would seem like a long hour or 55 minutes if we didn't have all of these sprints to look forward to, and consequently the damage that the sprints do. Christina Grossman is on a tremendous day. This might be her best race so far in her esports career happening right now. She's got the 18 points from the FALs. The FTS points are 30 for 48 total. Her teammate Claire Cameron also, and now Anna Russell, has moved up into fifth as far as points getters. It's going to be Weiss with 24, Candeloro with 18. It's actually 3 riders with Jean Clark also at 17 with Russell there. And that's a good look at our leaderboard. A good day for Riot. Let's see if they can hold on. Last lap action well underway here in Central Park. 39 kilometers of racing, all going to be paid in about 10 minutes or so as we take a look at the gladiators of the road. And it's another attack here.
And you know exactly who it is. Yeah, I mean, she's the workhorse of this entire squad, right? Like she goes to the front of any climb, anytime things need to be brought back. I mean, she's just this
She's
powerhouse
awesome.
threshold rider.
Great
You need a
teammate.
VO2 max effort over the top of a climb. Send Megan Rathwell to the front. She'll bring it back or she'll split it apart. That's what she's all about. 181 beats per minute, and she's putting the pressure on to make these other teams chase, to soften their legs up. And wow, is Grossman? I was expecting her to sit in a little bit more, but she's heading to the front. This is interesting, actually.
She's just on fire right now. Talking about Christina Grossman. That's the woman, our top point getter, sitting fourth wheel there, right behind her teammate Megan Rathwell, who is setting the table right now. This is a magic carpet ride that Rathwell is trying to give her teammate Grossman. They're all over the front. Looks like we see another attack going here, Nathan. This is interesting here. Yuseni, a very strong rider, is certainly Kaplan now. Sisu Du wants to put their nose up into the wind. So look at this absolute Donnybrook body blow after body blow being thrown by these women here, Nathan. And this is it. This last lap is going to be brutal. What a throwdown. And here comes Aeonian.
Aeonian, OTR. Was there any splits, though, is going to be the question. Absolute Finesse keeping
Certainly
themselves
some riders
involved
won't
there
survive.
with the Nada. But, I mean, that pressure from Rathwell, did it do some damage? Definitely.
There you go.
Look at this. We can see.
Oh, man.
Roberts just getting back on. Yax is just there. But here, Park, out of the question now at this point. Florizone trying to come back. Team Fearless, she might do it. She may do it, but they eliminated one of the better sprinters out here today, Catherine Monks. Quick is out as well. These are big names that got kicked out the back by that push by Rathwell. And now Florizone looks like also out of the mix. Perhaps she is digging so deep right now, but no, I'm not sure. It's right there. Is Russell trying to give her a wheel? Because that's what's going to happen here. And it looks like she's just barely going to latch back on as they calm down and wait for the next sprint.
Anna's not a big gift giver in bike racing, so I'm surprised. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? She just happens to be there right now playing her role for the team. She ain't giving anything to anybody that's not wearing a Riot jersey. That wouldn't be very good English there. But Nathan, I have a feeling that Molly Van Houweling fought her way back up into the group and then got caught out one more time. It's been that kind of race out here. Absolutely top-notch efforts. They fan out across the road now because we're going to reset. We've got 2 sprints to look forward to. So very quickly here, we've got a 10-point, 10 deep sprint. So 10 for the first woman over the line, down to 1 point for the 10th. And then we're just a few K from the finale where 50 points are waiting. So Riot, look at the job that they've done. But with that many points at the finish, it's kind of very hard to make it into a situation where you can't lose, Nathan. They're still exposed to a team having a rush at the finish. If somebody can we've seen it today, with teams putting 3 riders in the top 5, that could be enough to upset Riot. So this is not over, folks.
Yeah, and I mean, look at Katrina Weiss. I do want to shout her out. She's been at some live events as well, racing. One of our, top, long time and top community racers for the longest time. Katrina with a solid 24 points, keeping Aeonian on the board there. I wouldn't count her out for some big points at the end. She's on the East Coast, actually, Roanoke area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Roanoke, the Star City of the South. Okay.
Yeah, her and Scotty living down there with their son Noah. So, who also rides on Zwift. They're great family. So, 24 points right now, holding down for Katrina. Canada Laurel here as well at 18 for that ATP, as well as Clark early on grabbing some points, as you can see. But Riot, again, with some domination tonight. Not really too many others. And Monks is out the back with those 11. So, Obstacle Finesse, not really part too much of this conversation right now. They do have Obstacle Finesse still here with Zanata, I believe that's going to be.
That is Carly Zanata. Carly Zanata, the Canadian. Yeah,
that seems to be it right now for them.
Yeah. This is a pretty select group, to tell you the truth. There's Yvonne Timewell of Aeonian. I have a feeling this one's extra special for Riot, to tell you the truth. Anna Russell, who acts as the de facto team director, or maybe not even de facto, she's the team director here for Riot, does a really great job of motivating the riders. And Christina Grossman works for a major record label and is impeccable musical taste, and she makes playlists for the team, especially around team time trials that will have themes depending on the race, and it sort of speaks to the camaraderie that they have on this team. This is Christina Grossman's home race. Winning this one will be kind of her world championships, Nathan, and I think the team wanted to do something very special today, and to tell you the truth, so far they are. This has been magic.
Yeah, but we do see some people like Britt Mason looking to upset that
Don't
off
like
the front. 8 watts per kilogram from the mountain biker. Is it going to stick? Katrina Weiss essentially being the lead out here.
Well, Riot
For
better organize.
the Watt sisters, they're not doing anything. They don't even care. They want 40 points at the line. That's all they care about. Look at this for the Watt sisters. Great job to
watch
MJ
this. They're going to carry on. These two are going to carry on. So they're right now, they are 2.1. Yes, the peloton has to respond. This is it, folks. If you're going to watch 2Ks of bike racing, I'd highly recommend it be this 2K. So that's right. Okay, they've taken control. The Empire strikes
that
back.
was it. MJ got her points, and she's done. Or did she have a dropout? No. That looks like a dropout. That is too bad.
Maybe her bike came out of its smart trainer during the sprint or something.
She just demolished it. She just completely demolished everything. Look at what Riot is doing. Look at what Riot's doing. What is this? I've never even seen this before. Grossman, Russell, all of them at the front. Arrow power-ups. They are completely putting the pressure on at this point. This is some
either going to be brilliant or backfire in a major way.
At least they're making it interesting. What is this?
They went all in. This is Riot at their best. So this is definitely what we were talking about. Today is going to be very, very special, or a complete nightmare. There really is no middle ground for Riot right now, and it goes back and forth, body blow after body blow here at the front. So Nathan, can Riot do it? They've been so strong today. But as you mentioned, riders like Britt Mason, so strong that you can't just win at will. This level is too high. Barbara Frisch, watch out for the Aeonian rider Frisch. Oh my gosh, I love this race.
Either for a win here, actually with the uphill nature and her punch, she's a lighter rider that's got this quick kick. I would be watching out for her as well. Grossman, though, maybe the setup for her, but Riot really taking over at the front. Is that going to be Claire Cameron?
Calms down a little bit.
Claire Cameron is just at the front making things fast, though, it looks like here, and making sure that nobody can really, sneak away is what it looks like to me.
Can't do better than this right now for talking about that dream scenario of Grossman winning in her home course. That's exactly what Claire Cameron is trying to do. Here comes Britt Mason. This is your biggest danger. You've got to pay attention to this. I mean, right here, right now, Britt Mason should have the limelight on her, as this woman is a big, big challenge. They've got to respond. You cannot play around. Give no leash at all. Cover and kill.
Here we go. The speed up. There it is. The initial kick. It's going to be
now.
WLC now making the way to the front. It's going to be Karina Esquada. She's got a little bit of a gap now at this point. Katrina Weiss trying to come across. Arrow coming on through. 11 watts per kilogram. WLC, I think she's done it. She got the gap, and it is over already. She can roll to the line. Weiss now in second. Grossman comes in for third or fourth behind ATP and Candeloro. Now the consistency as the team game was played, Riot, but look at that. Huge. That was amazing there coming from the WLC rider. I think, did she go so hard? She just went, she just stopped. She just stopped dead. Karina, amazing job from WLC. Huge. I love the glasses too. Look at the.
She beat a really tough team. So Nathan, it's worth noting though, Riot still obviously was the team of the day. So that they will take the points necessary to, I'm doing that thumb sketch style, but still, what a fun race. Really, really fun. Let's jump back in with the men. They're down to it. Only 3.5K to go for the guys now.
Yeah, we're coming right to it here as they make their way around course. It looks like about 5K, no, 3K to go, 3.5K to go at this point. And it is going to be restart on the front. They're coming into their final 10-point sprint. We'll see if anybody wants it or if it's going to be a setup for a counter. these boys, they tend to take some risks out here. I wouldn't be surprised if there were one or two that were like, hey, why don't we give it a go after
Where's
this sprint?
Wouter's Wart?
Right?
Yeah, I mean, it just, especially if Wouter was, unfortunately, it'd be not a great thing to have a ghost, but we might see that ghost power up come into play here. It's your best. That's when you use that to help establish that gap and try to sneak away and get enough of a gap that you can hold on for the win. The 3 power-ups are the helmet, that's the aerodynamics, and the feather. And you see almost all of them will be played here in the next minute or so.
Here comes the kick. Chris from ATP. From Japan, actually. A little bit of a feather power-up. He might be able to hold on for 5th across the line, but I think Noah Bout alongside of... This is for the bonus points. Schaefer.
Yep.
Schaefer's going to hold. Cannondale 4i. Next across the line, it looks like, with Eric Lassell. Always a strong sprinter. Makes his way forward, but he's going to back right on off up into that 180 beats per minute. They got a little bit of a gap, but I think that pack is going to come flying up.
So that officially, we have one more race coming up today, Nathan, but I have not seen, and it makes sense, nobody has attacked through that sprint line and gone on to win the race.
Right here,
not
so
doable.
That's because they're not thinking about it for the right here. Boom, and Spokes is going when you should. I don't know if he's actually doing it, but this 2% gradient, you take that. This is my recon. You take the 2%, you take that 54 kilometers per hour. They're about to slow down to sub 50, and you launch at 55 over the top of this little bump. And then you immediately can get 5 to 10 seconds, but you got to go through the pack. He's just sitting. He's on the front, so he's not going to get as much speed. Because you see how they slow to 48? You can carry 55 over this if you do it right. That's a full 7 to 10. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
That's where it's at. I think a lot of them are going at the wrong time is all it is, because they're not used to what the churn actually is, like how long that lasts from that sprint.
It's a short churn is the thing. You can see look how quickly you move out and through. It's really realistic. Zwift has come a long, long way with the group dynamics 3.0. Much, much better racing lately.
Everything's calmed right on down. Nobody wanted a piece of that.
Going to be a straight-up sprint. 1K to go,
Oof,
right? It's
Spokes.
Straight-up sprint.
Keeps on giving these little kicks. I don't think he's actually going for it, though. 178 beats per minute here coming from Chin. Watch out for him for Team F3. Fast, fierce family.
Okay. Well, it's been fun watching Andrew Ferentz out here finding another level of racing. And I think everybody's ready for what's going to be a select group to throw
Ferentz
down.
Is your current
Chin.
leader. Look at that.
Jay Brune. Big fan of Jay Brune. He's up there. So he's gathered 22 points now. I saw him. He's on our World's team, the American World's team.
Out the front. Noah blocked. He's going for it. He's making an early move here. Will Noah hold on? Morse responds there from Velocio, though. The red jersey's off the front. Can he get the upset? He might have done it. He's got 10 watts per kilogram, and that was late enough, but the speed is high. This is a late arrow. It's a really late arrow next. Oh, my gosh. Hernandez with the speed launch, 66 kilometers per hour. Restart from Dowd goes over the top, I think. We'll have to take a look at the replay.
Ollie Dowd. Holy cow. Top-notch rider. Comes through in the clutch. Oh, man, we're going to be able to go to our results. It's going to be very interesting to see how that one scored. And after we tally all of the points from out here racing over 39K, what team gathered the most? You reap what you sow.
Look at the speed differentiation here. I mean,
I thought Noah was in with a good shot.
I did too, but watch the speed. It's just you use that pack roll through, and it's just too much. And even this 66 kilometers per hour we're seeing here.
Now, Dowd is second wheel right now. You can see the restart rider, the Canadian, just with one mega surge here.
It's about launching there when it comes to the out of the pack into that climb. And I think, he got it. He got it. Look at that. I mean,
we'll go to the back end API.
Buy a tire. Buy a tire, I think. So we'll have to wait.
So either way, that was an outstanding men's and women's race today out here in Central Park Perimeter with the new points setup. I guess new. It seems new to me. I'm not even sure if the ZRL has ever raced in Park Perimeter before. But
Women's race here,
awesome
Dave, for the
course.
replay. Britt with that move early on. It was. I think she
So
found
this,
herself on the front at a time that she actually didn't want to be there. Honestly,
yeah,
because
a
watch
little
the
too
speed
early,
through on
right?
this roll down through, and this attack from the WLC rider was perfectly timed. As soon as it starts going uphill, she launches 4% gradient up into 60 kilometers per hour, holds that speed, gets the gap. It's enough. And nobody is able. I think they all kind of waited too long and didn't take their speed through along with her. They needed to follow that and sit in her slipstream. She ends up taking it down.
Well played. Well played. It becomes a real tactical battle in these races, and especially in the last couple of K. And with a lot of different teams that had cards to play, it took a special rider to get a win out here
I
in
think
Central Park.
Grossman got third. I'm looking here.
Katrina Weiss there.
Katrina in second, and Grossman, I think, just nipping third, actually. Yeah, I think she did hit a podium.
That's a classy podium. Who are these dudes riding the other way? That's what you would hear at a real bike race off mic. Who are those guys?
Take it away,
Do they have
Dave.
their helmets on? Yeah, okay. Well, Karina Escueda getting it done. Viva Mexico. That was a big one for Wahoo Lacole America's WA1. That was fun to watch. Super ride. You're a star, Karina. Katrina Weiss taking the silver medal for Aeonian. The Dynamis. Christina Grossman was consistent, strong all day in her featured home course, Central Park, for Riot. Taking third, ATP Racing Stingers getting up there with Katie. That's a name to remember. Katie Candeloro has been really impressive this season, as has fifth place finisher Morgan Useni for the GLV women. This is really quite a group that we've got. Megan Rathwell played a big role for Riot today and still holds on for sixth and getting those points for the Riot team. Kristen Yaks of the Aeonian squad, seventh. Great job, Kristen. Joey Lithgow with an eighth place for Fear Nothing. Cryogen Gallopin has Angel Martin for ninth today. And 10th place is Meredith Moran of the GLV women. That was outstanding racing.
Yeah, really close racing. We'll take a look at the standings here in just a moment because I have a feeling that this was a little closer with that final board than maybe we were anticipating just because there's a lot of points on that final board. But I do think
it's like, how was Wahoo?
I'm almost positive Riot won, but I think it was a little closer with these big points at the end of the day.
They did. So they were leading going into it, and then they pick up a third and a sixth. So that third is 35 points, which is only 15 less than the 50 for the win. And Wahoo wasn't close enough because they don't have another rider, Nathan, in the top 10.
Yeah, of course.
So that's sort of right.
Good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
Anyways, but
Lauren
you know what?
I
don't like doing that. I don't like doing that to you when I just guess. Right? That doesn't really help.
I was guessing too. So
okay. Well, then I'm guessing on top of your guess.
Laura Kopech is coming on through.
If you're going to guess, then I'm going to guess. What the heck? Yeah, I love this field. This is a real talented group of women. And look what you had to do. I mean, if you couldn't do 3.3 watts per kilo, you're going to be in for one heck of a day. Good, well, or in that range, obviously, as you can see, Lauren Kopech with ATP Racing Honeybees winning in a strong field in our bees. Carolyn DeFore, the pride of Austin, Texas, where I'm heading next week for our Garmin tour. Not this week, but next week. The Mashdown tour with Garmin Tax. Herd of Butterflies is her team. She's an inspirational rider. Way to go, Carolyn. It's Natalie Barron in third for ATP Racing Honeybees. Looks like they had a good day, Nathan. Royal City Cycling WB1 and Alexandra Coates in fourth. It's Alicia Trevino. There's a name we know well for the WTRL World Tactical Racing League Dynos. She's a B-Juicers rider in fifth, and her teammate Maggie Card is going to end up in sixth for the WTRL Dynos. It's Megan James for Sisu I Race Like a Girl Freya in seventh. Her teammate Lonnie Seaman in eighth. Herd of Butterflies. That's Aaron Tolfo in ninth, and Caitlin Port in 10th. So Herd of Butterflies for Aaron. Caitlin riding for Royal City Cycling, WB1. Good job, ladies.
And in the C category, looks like maybe still out on course, or perhaps we don't have a C category in here. That would be my mistake if there is no one at all. Let's go and take a look at
There
the
will be soon
men's men's results.
with
As
20,000 racers out here. Martin was saying today that we heard it was over 19,000. Pretty soon there will be. We now have we're adding new
look at
divisions.
this result board. Oliver Dowle comes through from restart, but then it's Guerra Hernandez there from next level. Merlin Delaire there from restart as well. Tony Gumbel next level. John Brune next level. Richard Keller. I wonder who won. About coming on through on the rivet blur. It's going to be Nicholas.
That's very interesting. Does a first and a third beat a second, fourth,
Oh, it's
fifth,
a good
and
call.
sixth?
Yeah, I wonder. We'll have
Right,
to wait
but
and
I
see.
mean, obviously there were a lot of points before that. That would be close, but actually, I would say that the advantage with points goes to next because the point score, if you want to just very quickly, it's 50 for the win, 40 for second, 35 third, 30 for fourth, 27 for fifth, and 25 for sixth. So looks a little bit better for next there, but still restart. Great job. I'm a big fan of Ollie Dowd. He's a young Canadian with a lot of energy. And how about Gerardo Hernandez, next level. He's a star of the future.
Looking through here. Can you go ahead and go through these, Dave? I'm just double checking some things here for some of our results and standings. Go ahead.
You bet. Let me just take it from the top. Yeah,
Yep.
You got it. Ollie Dowd taking the win and the gold medal that goes with it for Canada and restart. It's next levels. Gerardo Hernandez taking silver today. This is in our men's A's for our America's East Division 1, men's mixed. Bronze medal to Merlin Dalliere for restart, same team as Ollie Dowd. Tony Gumbel ends up in fourth for next, and then you can see it's a cavalcade of next level riders as Jay Brune. Way to go, my friend. He takes fifth today. He's on our American Worlds team. Richard Keller, the Canadian, in sixth on the Rivet Blur with Noah Balch, who made that valiant late race attack. They caught him just before the line. He'll take seventh. Nicholas Prue in eighth for Cannondale Echelon, presented by 4i. 4i, a Canadian cycle power meter company that are really cool. Ruben Durand in ninth. It's all Canada here as we talked about Andrew winning a bunch of sprints. Really fun to have Andrew Ferentz out racing with us. He's with Velocio Trail Mesh. Thanks again, Andrew, for all you do to bring a positive energy to Zwift. So there you go. That's your men's A's. Nathan, I'll take the B's too. Thank you. So this is our Division 1 men's mixed B's racing on the same course for the same distance out here today. And it was Adam Voss of Zed Sun Set taking the win. Way to go, Adam. Congratulations winning on a really tough course out here today. In second is Marc-Antoine Poulet with Velo Optimum CC. Velo Optimum. That sounds very Quebecois. I love it. For second, it's silver. And Darren Mock, third place, bronze medal on the Rivet Oost B. Fourth place is Joe Thomas, the American, on Draft B. It's going to be fifth place for Ryan Norwood of the Dirty Ducks B. Sixth going to Tim Nelson of Cryogen Odecan. Seventh is Kurt Jansen of Draft B. Jacob Bratton is Dirty Ducks B rider in eighth. Brent Knudsen is ninth place for Cryogen Odecan. And then you've got Royal City Cycling MB1 rider, the Canadian, Ryan Davies on 10th. I don't think Royal City would allow an American on the team. I might be wrong, but I think that they've got some standards there. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'll take the C's as we're waiting for some official updates here in just a second. Or maybe we're just not getting the C and D maybe in our league tables. I have a feeling there are C's, D's in the women's and the men's. I think we're just not
You
getting
know where
them.
you can go.
I do have
WTRL
official.
Racing.
Okay, I was told. I'm gonna double check here. I'm gonna leave this alone. I'm gonna say head on over to WTRL.racing. Let's just give this a second. Dave, as real quickly here, I really want to say who won today because on that women's team event, not the who
for
won
the
across the
teams.
line, but Riot versus Aeonian is a conversation right now. And
Can we see the top 10 again for the
I'm working
final?
on it. I'm working on it right now.
I'll run it through my supercomputer and tell you what you should expect.
Okay. Riot won on the day. Riot did win on the day. So it was close. It was close enough that we had to double check. So they were definitely Aeonian did a lot of work. And they were right there. But ended up being Riot on the day. Everybody.
Well, do you remember me saying, Nathan, as we went into the finish, I was like, look, Riot is in really good position, but they couldn't guarantee that they were going to win. They still had to perform in the finale. And they performed. They got enough, a third place, but as they made it closer than they wanted it to be. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, maybe they I don't know if they made it close.
Hey, thank God for Megan Rathwell.
Yeah, I mean,
let's
Rathwell,
be honest.
I mean, yeah, right. I mean, if Absolute Finesse,
Subtract
if
those
Catherine Monks
Rathwell
was
points.
still there, if Monks was still there and she jumped in the middle of some of that, or Van Halen, you know what I mean? There was plenty of situations where they made it difficult that, nobody was able to get back on terms and weren't involved in that sprint at the end.
Very much a live by the sword, die by the sword moment there, because Riot has always been, remember going back maybe a year ago, that day at Richmond Reverse where they attacked and just blew the race up, and they sort of set a standard of early aggressive racing. Take no prisoners is a good way to put it, right? And so today they tried to do that in the finale, didn't really quite go their way. And then they were up against it when it came down to the sprint. They didn't have a lead out left for Christina Grossman. Grossman was left to fight for her own there. And as I said, you subtract those Megan Rathwell points away. If she doesn't get up into sixth place, I bet you they don't beat Aeonian. So thank you, Megan Rathwell, there with a bit of a kick save, to use another hockey reference, for Riot out here today. But again, isn't that racing? And that's what's great. If Anna had the team laying back and waiting, it just wouldn't be their style. A tiger's going to be a tiger. That's the way it is.
And with that, we're going to end the broadcast on one last thing. Team Grape Nuts, everyone, just so you know.
Eric, I do not appreciate that, Eric. Way to put a damper 100%. On the grape bucket.
Team Grape Nuts, let's go. All right. I love it. We'll be back in about an hour for America's West. Kate Bates will be sitting here. Dave's going to stay right there, frozen cryogen. He's hanging out with
Let
that
me go
team
get a
for
bowl of grape nuts. I'll be right back.
Yeah, and we'll see you in about an hour for America's West. WTRL for all the results stuff. Hit the follow buttons. Do all that fun stuff for more of this kind of content, and we'll see you in a little bit. As always, everybody, you know it. Right on.